Go ahead, say that.
Commissioners, the meeting is live.
That'd be a good shit.
I call this April 15th meeting of the Riley County Commission to order. Please, everybody, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. April 15th, month's halfway over. Tax day. Woo-hoo! Everybody get their taxes done on time?
No.
I'm just waiting for them to take it out of my bank account and take that good old hit on both the federal and the states. And it's just what my
Just notifications that they received them.
Yeah.
The email they sent back.
Yeah. And it's they do that multi-verification process thing too. It's tricky. So anyway, first year of that, so another process on a process I don't want to do, but oh well. Okay, well, with that, we'll start off with some public comments this morning. Anybody? Nobody on Zoom? Nobody? Just a quiet old Monday, huh? Okay.
No 10-hour meeting.
No 10-hour meeting like Douglas County, yeah.
Yeah, the news, Douglas County had a 10-hour meeting Saturday.
Oh, solar
And
panels.
solar farm, 600-acre. So
Oh, another reason how great Riley County is. Look at that. You guys haven't had to experience that.
no,
No, I'd rather not.
I'll just read about it. That's good enough for me.
Yeah, I've got one upcoming that's gonna be interesting on May 2nd, but I don't think
Yeah.
it'll be 10 hours.
10 hours.
Yeah, with that said, we'll close off public comments this morning. We'll move on to commissioner comments. Commissioner Taylor.
All right. Well, Thursday afternoon, we had a meeting out at the new location for the new EMS station. It was a coordination meeting in preparation for the start of the project. The first work is going to be some utility relocations. But the contractor went over the traffic plan once construction starts with and how the parking went over and had people from health department and FCRC about what traffic plan will change and how the parking will change to make sure everybody understands how that's working. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that thing getting started.
Yeah, I didn't hear for sure if we're having that groundbreaking on the 22nd or not.
I guess so. I haven't heard
Yeah, I haven't
anything
heard
different.
confirmation.
In your confirmation, but I put it on my.
If it is,
It
that
is,
is
okay.
Yes, David confirmed
Oh,
it
okay.
worked for everybody for the 22nd.
2:00. Okay.
Sounds
Good.
good.
Okay.
A week from the day.
Mhm.
Yay,
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that
final.
would be great to see that go on. So, are you done?
other than that, working garden. Nice weather. A little hot, it's a little hot, but
Yeah.
Yeah, yesterday for sure.
I turned on the AC. It was that hot.
we had to try.
I just couldn't. I tried. I couldn't do it. I'm a wuss.
I turned on all my fans and shut all the windows and it was fine. Yeah.
It wasn't. I got the southern exposure in there, so it just gets up over 85. I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay, well, let's see, Friday, early morning, I had a PT session and then an appointment with my orthopedic surgeon. I'll have another 2 or 3 weeks of physical therapy and then hopefully I'll be done with that. In the afternoon, I worked on and finished my taxes, just haven't turned them in yet, so.
Better hurry.
I had an extension filed, so I just kept putting it off, so it's one of those things. Then Saturday, did some work in the yard, enjoyed the day. It turned out a little hot Sunday, but in the evening, I attended the musical Annie play that was presented by the Fort Riley Middle School drama theater classes. The instructor is a friend of mine, and it was really well done. A lot of work for everyone. That's our first year of building up the theater and drama program. So she's done a really good job, and those kids were great. Annie's not an easy musical to do for kids, but everything was memorized and it was really good. So they did performances on Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday afternoon. So that was a lot for the weekend. And then later I went to dinner with some friends. Sunday, I went to church, did some yard work, went through bills and meeting documents for today's meeting. That's about all I got done. That's it for me.
Okay. And as for me, Thursday afternoon, I had my April National Teams call with NACO's Veteran and Military Service Committee. After some brief opening remarks, we heard from our vice chair. Our chair wasn't available this year. Sylvia Norris, she's the Veteran Service Divisions Director at Wake County, North Carolina. Then we heard from Jessica Strong. She's a PhD Senior Director of Applied Research for Blue Star Families. And she gave us a very in-depth overview of the work and efforts of Blue Star families and their efforts to support military families as a whole throughout the entire country. Julia Cortina, legislative assistant with the Veterans and Military Service Committee and NACO, gave us a legislative update from Capitol Hill and everything that's being worked on in the military and defense side sector. And then we talked a little bit about the upcoming annual conference in July. It's in Tampa, Florida this year, and presidential appointments, and had just a general discussion to wrap up. Also on Thursday, I listened in on the Council of Foreign Affairs state and local officials webinar. This one was protecting U.S. waterway coastlines and maritime infrastructure. Can't imagine why they were discussing that, but whatever. Eric Duche, captain of the U.S. Coast Guard and visiting military fellow at the CFR, discussed the primary mission of the Coast Guard, including disaster management, protection of the United States ports, shorelines, and other areas where the Coast Guard cooperates with local officials, both domestically and internationally. It's a pretty good dialogue, actually. There's some pretty good questions that followed after that presentation in lieu of everything that happened in Baltimore here recently. So Thursday evening, I attended the Little Apple Brigade Spring Social over across the way at Nelson, Strecker Nelson L. West Art Gallery. Of course, they moved from behind over to there, got a much bigger space. Looks pretty good. They did get a job setting all that up. There was people from the community, including the city of Manhattan, the Chamber, K-State, some of the local businesses. Of course, a lot of people from Fort Riley getting ready to have that 2-year term over there. So there's some people attending for the first time, and then some people that were probably attending for the last time. So kind of just a different, just kind of a transitional thing. Well, it's a good opportunity to chat and network and meet some new people, catch up with some old people. Just a good all around night. Friday, I came down here and donated some blood at the blood drive. Country's still fighting a shortage of blood, so those donations are critically important. I just wanted to point out with the new setup for American Red Cross and the Rapid Pass, it's really easy to do. I was in and out in 20 minutes. I think I broke a record for the actual donation. It was like 6.5 minutes it took. So I guess my blood was flowing on Friday, for lack of a better term. So rest of the weekend, I just spent catching up with some chores and stuff at home in preparation for this week's trip to Pittsburgh and the KCCA. So that's all I got. Business time.
First item is Riley County Health Department request to apply for additional funds. And we'll need to go in as Board of Health, please. We can make a motion.
Okay. Need a motion for this.
Okay. Yeah, I would make a motion that we have to adjourn into Board of Health, don't we?
Recess is the Board of County Commissioners.
Oh, okay, that's what I was,
It's the usual one.
okay. I would make a
Understandable.
motion to
Text
recess out of the Board of County Commissioners and reconvene as Board of County Health.
Second.
The moved and seconded, recesses the Board of County Commission and then reconvene as the Board of County Health. All in favor? All right.
Aye.
I am kind of curious why we're doing this in the business meeting instead of regular time.
Well, this is an expedited grant opportunity for additional supplemental funding from our maternal and child health program through the state. So
Gotcha, but
we weren't meeting on Thursday, and so it's due today at
So
noon.
the clear answer to your question is that she found out about it at 4:00 on Friday.
okay,
And
okay.
there was no time to add to the agenda for a car, so we had only spot, and it's due today.
Okay,
So that, I get your point, it's not a car, it's not a regular session, but
okay.
Yeah.
That clears up the confusion.
yes, yeah, that's why it's a minutes.
Yeah.
Good old grants.
Yeah, she did, it's not something we were sitting on, it's something she found out about.
Okay.
It happened.
All right, well, good morning and thanks for letting me have them present today quickly. Like I said, I'm Rebecca Spencer, I'm the maternal child health supervisor at the Riley County Health Department. And the maternal child health program applies for aid to local MCH funding every year. It was due April 1st, and so that was submitted on time. And then they came back
It was Thursday, actually. Sorry, I
Yeah,
apologize.
they
It was
came back Thursday and had an opportunity for additional supplemental funding. It's a one-time funding opportunity that must be expended by June 30th of 2024. And then, as Elizabeth said, the due date for requesting this supplemental funding is today at 12 p.m. So quick timeline and turnaround. And so currently we have a bilingual social work intern that we partner with K-State social work program. And so she's been helping us a lot with our interpreting, providing education and support for our English and Spanish speaking clients as part of her internship. Through this time, she started in January, we noticed there's an undeniable need for continuation of some sort in this capacity. So as you approved about 18 months ago, Maria Bagero is our MCH bilingual navigator, and she does a lot of work with our Spanish speaking population. And that caseload has been growing and growing and growing over time. So that being said, we are requesting additional supplemental funding for a temporary bilingual MCH home visitor. The additional funding will equal about 11,000. We're still trying to figure out the job description and the title and all of those little intricacy things, but we are hoping to start at April 29th through June 28th, which would be about a 9-week stint for this position. It will cover salary and benefits, and it will be of no cost to the county, funded 100% by the MCH supplemental funding. Any questions?
I'd recommend that we approve the request to apply for additional funding for the MCH home visiting program.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the request to apply for additional funding for the MCH home visiting program. All in favor?
Great, thank you very much.
Now you need to magically become the county commissioner.
Do we have something to sign? No?
No, you want to make it to sign until we figure out the details of the job kind of business setting. So you don't, it's actually not a grant, it's an increase, so you don't have to sign the grant.
They will just add it to our FSR,
Okay.
and so it's part of our MCHA to local package. They'll just add it to the FSR. We'll budget it accordingly, and then Shelley will make sure that that's done when that's due July 15th.
So technically, you've already approved the fund. This is additional, and then it's a position that didn't exist, but it's temporary.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, then I would make a motion to recess as the Board of Health, County Board of Health, and reconvene as the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to recess as the Board of County Health and then reconvene as the Board of County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Next item is a contract agreement with Schilling Construction for the 2024 asphalt overlay program. Motion, please.
I'd like to sign or approve the contract for Michelle Construction, the amount of $1,602,010.
I would second that.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded to approve the contract from Schilling Construction Company in the amount of $1,602,010. All in favor?
Aye. Just here. This is the first one. What is one?
What?
Back to it for this.
Just asphalt. Geez, Evan.
Here to see.
Thank you. All right, the next item is an employee assistant program contract for services with Pawnee Mental Health Services for 2025
Four.
It's
Four.
four
They didn't get it.
and five.
It's for this year.
for April. Yeah.
So we've had these in the past.
Yes, yeah, this will be, it's either a third, I think it's our third year. But they had to do a change of staff and they didn't get it out before the end of the contract. So they've been servicing us right along. The rate hasn't changed and the conditions haven't changed. Clancy did make one additional correction. They agreed to it, their initial on it.
Yeah, I saw that. Have we had a lot of interest or participation?
Well, so I don't have a report from them, also running behind, but I know we as collectively as department heads and HR have talked to quite a few employees about the service. And there is a preference for this local, because the state provides EAP as well, but there's a preference for the local connection here at Pawnee, so.
Okay.
And we previously did have a lot of complaints where we only had the state about being able to access the service and get an appointment in a timely manner. And we haven't received those complaints.
Okay.
We should be getting a usage report. That is a normal expectation. We don't get names or details, but just numbers. I don't have it yet, but
Yeah, it'd be good to see that.
yeah, again, they did say they had a turnover of staff, and so they were running behind on some of their office work.
Well, let's see. I'll make a motion to approve the EAP contract renewal for 2024.
Second.
They moved and seconded to renew the EPA contract for 2024. All in favor?
Aye.
It's just the chair.
Chair.
One spot, John.
So still all paper clipped together.
Yeah. Allergies?
I don't know, something's got my nose tickled this morning.
Yeah, get out there on one.
Next item, the mobile device reimbursement form.
And move to approve the mobile device reimbursement form.
I would second that.
They moved and seconded to approve the mobile device reimbursement form. All in favor?
Aye.
Just chair.
There you go. This one,
One sheet of paper. See,
Hey.
this is how everything should be right here.
The dream.
Yes.
Not realistic dream, but that's great.
The one-page contract, one-page resolution. It's the friendly divorce.
So
Friendly divorce, yeah, I got that.
that's it.
That's-
Yeah.
There isn't such a thing.
Next item is a proclamation for AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP program for the Flint Hills Veterans, Flint Hills Volunteer Center.
I would make a motion to sign the proclamation for the AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP program, Flint Hills Volunteer Center 50th anniversary.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to sign the proclamation for the AmeriCorps Senior RSVP program for the Flint Hills Volunteer Center's 50th anniversary. All in favor?
Aye. It's probably all of this.
Correct, yes.
You should pull out. Thing in this signatures.
They make desks.
Well, I've got had nightstands. Not necessarily business, but your own tables. I have them. It's always, these desks are kind of strange. This is really not necessary.
Riley County Personnel Action Forms for Rosalie Seaman, a new hire as a paramedic in the EMS Ambulance Department. Thomas Young, a new hire as a volunteer firefighter in the Riley County Fire District. David Hughes, a solid waste operator 2 in the Public Works Solid Waste Department for separation. Ava Moden, an election clerical assistant in the Election Department for separation. Kelly Lonker, an election clerical assistant in the Election Department for separation. And Molly Mathis, a new hire as a clerical assistant in the Planning and Development Department.
We can split these up a little bit. It's hard on that.
Next item is payroll and accounts payable. It's for Friday, the 19th, within today since there's a meeting Thursday.
Move to approve payroll and accounts payable.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded to approve payroll and accounts payable. All those in favor?
Aye.
Item, the minutes from April 11th.
Anything?
I didn't say anything. I would make a motion to approve the minutes as written from the April 11th, 2024 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the minutes as written from the April 11th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.
Any changes to the tentative agendas?
Same thing.
Any press conference topics?
No, not for me.
Next item, Shelley at 9.
City of Ogden is getting some funding from the DOT's Thriving Communities Program for Riley Avenue. I don't know how much yet, but
Good.
they're the only city in Kansas to get it.
Cool.
That's a victory.
That's
A
good.
huge victory.
Yeah, they worked really hard on it too.
That's awesome.
It is great. Wow, they really went through there Saturday, and my goodness, it
Yeah.
really
it's-
needs some
I
help
know,
over
it
there.
does.
So what is the plan, or do they have,
Well, they got to get the plan first.
but what do they want to do?
Well, they're probably gonna have to tear it all up, go all the way down to base, rebuild it back up, and then safety sidewalks, and then on the Main Street corner there, I don't know what they're gonna design, but some kind of a safe routes to school to get back and forth from
Good problem.
school to the north side, so.
So let's
That's
probably
on track.
close off that gate to Fort
Yeah.
Valley.
Well, if they get the
Yes.
railhead and stuff in there, there's gonna be more traffic coming back out that way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a flow in and then flow back out, and they're gonna flow back out that way, and it's just destroying it.
Hmm.
So they'll have to probably go
Yeah,
down a little bit and build that base back up, but
Yeah.
this will go a long ways to help them get that project in place, and then they'll have to get funding to do the actual project, so it's
So it's like a
to,
design plan.
Yeah.
That's cool.
uh, I'll need one of those proclamations too for the president.
Yes.
Sure, yeah. You're just taking advantage of the fact you don't have to bring them over later.
Let me bring them out to public works.
Thanks.
Thanks for the meeting.
That was a motorcycle. Okay, Shelley.
Good morning, commissioners. So this is a return with a resolution. We update our animal control resolution. As what it does not do is provide any services, but it basically it modernizes our animal enforcement resolution. It has the things that we talked about last time in coordination with Barry's office for criminal offenses and things like that. As well as some of the highlights here, as we discussed, right, I went and removed all the references to the code enforcement officer because our code enforcement officer is not trained to do animal control duties. We removed the licensing requirement for just general pets. There's still the licensing requirement for potentially dangerous dogs, but thankfully those are more rare. And then I know one of the issues in the tethering that came up was making sure that there were access to food and water for a dog that's legally tethered, so that was included as well. So I don't know if you had a chance to go through to get any questions, but this should hopefully get us, like I said, more up to date on our, and as we move forward trying to enter into those other contracts, this would be able to be enforceable.
What it was. In its Article 4,
Dangerous.
1C, under that proper enclosures, talks about, if it's I think those are what's required for a potentially dangerous dog. Talks about the chain link fence, says 9 gauge and 1 inch spacing. Chain link fences are 2 inch spacing.
Was a remnant of the last week, but that's that's an easy change that we can make if you approve this with that change, we can make that pretty clear.
Because I didn't think that sounded right. I looked through and there's an 11.5 gauge is kind of considered residential and 9 gauge is considered commercial, but they're all just 2 inch spacing that I could find.
We're not gonna give you these things if you're gonna read them.
Well, I'm glad that somebody who has better understanding of fencing, and so I said, I tried to keep as much as possible, because there was a committee that did this, and that's definitely not my area of expertise.
I also noticed in C there, on the same one there, the word violation is spelled wrong. Any part of the structure that allow the dog to exit the structure on its own, says volition. Is that the right word?
Yes, that's the right word. So that would be the dog can leave on its own without. So yes, that's the correct.
It's not commonly used, I would say.
Volition.
It's basically of its own reasoning that it can leave without somebody being.
Its own word.
That sounds volition.
If you'd like, we can.
Spelling that wouldn't be a good one to check on.
We can, if you'd like to change that wording, we can do that.
No.
Volition is the right word.
But yes, it's not something that we use every day. You're correct about that.
Thank you for catching us.
Yes. So
It's easier to do
things
that.
look at. Especially when it's a word like volition, if it meant to be violations, spell check doesn't catch those kinds of things. And often when you read through it, you read what you think you wrote versus what you actually wrote. So it's good to have multiple sets of eyes look at these things.
Any other changes?
So
I think we did a pretty good job getting that. I'm going to say modernized.
Okay, well, let's see. I would move to adopt the resolution on the animal control for the county with the corrections as noted.
I'll second.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded to adopt the resolution on Riley County animal control with the noted following changes. All those in favor?
Aye.
We'll get those changes made, and just a quick update since we have a few extra minutes we are actively working with Prairie Paws to get the contract back to you with the terms that we discussed. They are merging our standard terms into the document, so we're hoping to have that back from them soon. We've not been able to start negotiations with Manhattan on animal control yet, so that'll be the next step. But as you guys know, this was kind of a three-step process, and so this was step one, which was the one we could do internally. And hopefully we'll have some updates on those other two pretty soon. Thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, sir.
Did you read that online submittal from that Texas company that has federal funding for broadband in Raleigh County?
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I'm not understanding that either. I thought maybe I would email them and have them get with you and maybe get some agenda time and explain what's going on if they're gonna be here.
Yeah, we've got plenty of providers here. Why would they get the fund?
I don't- Apparently, they said that they're gonna be meeting with the Office of Broadband on something, so I don't know. Maybe maybe they're getting a separate grant to build some, I don't know.
Yeah.
Because local WTC and Twin Valley have been getting
Grants.
grants to do it, so I don't know how somebody in Texas got that.
Yeah, I think it.
When they're not here, you know.
We don't need that much. It's nice to have
Well, I mean,
competition, but still.
And maybe a couple other underserved areas that neither one of them are making plans on or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They look at that federal map as far as underserved and kind of go by that, and if it's not been updated, that's probably.
Yeah, it was the last time we saw that overall, the county was better served than most counties.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Cause she wants to, she said next week she wanted to get together with us, so maybe they can do it on a Monday or a Thursday, I don't know.
I hadn't reached back out on that one yet.
Me either, but Let's go.
I'll send her back an email and have her coordinate something with you if
Okay,
that works.
then I won't answer it.
Okay. Okay. So official next Monday, 2
Yes,
p.m.
sir. 22nd, 2 p.m.
Do I need to prepare something?
We could, you might, since you're the chairman, might have a short statement, but I've told them this isn't gonna be a big drawn out process. It's gonna be a long day for you anyway, and Commissioner Folke has something coming up right after that.
Okay.
So,
Will do.
figured you'd probably say something on
Some shovels.
Yeah, yeah, that's really what this is. We're gonna keep this simple. So
Nothing like the opening, that'll be.
that's a whole different thing here, but not for the groundbreaking. So.
Nothing else about this has been simple. So so I guess at least one thing will be, huh?
This has assured me that they will have hard hat, shovels, and dirt.
Okay. That's all we need. Sounds good.
We don't have to dig then, right?
Probably not.
I asked if I could use a backhoe.
Oh, backhoe.
They told him no.
They said, no.
Probably what it's gonna take over there. That's not very good.
Go ahead, David.
All right, good morning, Commissioners. David Adams, EMS Ambulance Director with my April updates. Starting off with operations, we had 446 calls for service in the month of March. So still was in a little bit of the cold and flu season. So breakdown in the station, volume by stations. Station 1, 154 calls. Station 2, 125. Station 3, Public Works, 72. And then this one flipped from the last several months where it had less calls than the last several months. They had less calls in the airport, but so it flipped back. So airport had 61, and then we had 33 in Leonardville. As you know, continuing to work on new building construction related topics. I'll be attending the second reading of our rezoning request tomorrow evening with the city. Kyle Morrison, the lead architect, will be here as well. He's going to come over and look at some of the things at our current station. So he must be doing the design for that repurposing of it once we vacate. So he's going to come over at 4 o'clock. We're going to do that, and then he and I, and my guess is John will be there again for the rezoning request. The first request, there were no questions. It's non-controversial. If any, I think they had questions more about their own process because they've kind of changed since this is the first of this new zoning. So they had questions just more about that. But as far as what we're wanting to be done, there's no concerns at all there. So that should go. We anticipate very quickly, and then the plans. The last set of the plans have been submitted, and the city's reviewing them. You know, because as you are all aware, submit plans, they have questions, they want modifications, it goes back and forth, and believe they're on the last one. And then the last document that they needed was the storm shelter by law has to be verified by an independent third party. So that's been submitted and it's met all requirements and such. So we'll do the rezoning in that last bit of the plans and we should be good to go. So, and then as you asked, the 22nd, 2 o'clock, we'll do the groundbreaking and then we'll get out of their way. And so I'm anticipating they may have some fencing up this week. So, and then they're supposed to put up some signage where the students park on Charles Little, that there's going to have to be moved. We suggested that they put a sign up in Marlatt Hall because a lot of those are residents of Marlatt Hall, saying they got to move them. And then I've spoken with Assistant Director Muldrup at RCPD. We'll have those signs up well in advance, saying that it's going to be closed. And then if there's some that are still left, then they'll come over the day before and we'll run the tags and get the phone number of the owners and say, hey, because a lot of those cars, they get parked there and they don't move.
Yeah.
So they'll stay there for weeks on end. So, but we're coordinating all of that so we can help everybody, and be good partners. So continue to participate in the working groups, task forces, and then subdivisions of those entities as well. Like the substance abuse task force I'm on. Well, there's also the response subgroup, and I'm on part of that, and some of those type of things. Josh and I are involved in those. Had the second hands-only CPR stop to be training for staff. I don't believe there were any participants, but it was set up. I think they're going to. I think I mentioned it last month. Move it around a little bit to see if that maybe helps county staff because we're more mobile than some of the county staff are for some of that. So we'll continue to do that. So trying to coordinate our leadership team tours of MBAF and such. Part of it is getting into the containment area, but they've got some things going on in there. And then you got to coordinate with multiple people in MBAF, multiple people with us, and it's a moving target. But we set up with everything there, but we just need to get in there. So, but we still have some time, but they want to do it sooner rather than later before they really start moving a lot of equipment in and start doing a lot of the testing on that side. So. And MBAF is still working on some of their protocol, how they want to handle emergencies inside the containment area. So it's not simple. So still migrating operational checklists over to the report writing platform. we're still working on the inventory reduction, and look at that, those operational needs of some of the equipment that we have. As we're preparing for severe weather season, as you see that we've got some storms coming in this evening, so we're working on that, making sure we're prepared and such. Preparing for the annual active violence training. I know they had, they meet a little bit throughout the year, but now some of those meetings are ramping up, and Josh and Alex are participating in those with their partners at MFD, RCPD, and then the USD 283. So those are starting to ramp up. We had the state board of pharmacy came in and did their annual inspection, and they just knock on the door and come on in, and it could not have timed it better. Captain Castle had when we have expired narcotics, we keep them secured, and then you have to inventory them, and then you send them off to a company to be disposed of properly. He was right in the middle of that, had these all over his desk when the board of pharmacy walked in. They could not have, and they giggled, it was fine. He was doing everything by the book. But so, and then I've got a copy in here of the checklist and everything. And so, and then they very nice. They also said, here's some things now. The federals has rolled out some changes. We're fine by the state. We just need to just do a little bit different bookkeeping for the feds, but no big deal. So we've made those changes. We appreciated that. So the annual service renewal with the Board of EMS, it's almost done. The only reason it's not is because I'm not smart enough computer-wise to do the last little section. So Josh is going to have to come over this afternoon and take some of our files and put them into a zip file and then attach it. I don't know how to make a bunch of files into a zip file. That's why we have Josh. So, but then as soon as he gets that done, probably today, I'll get that submitted. It's not due until April 30th, but everything else is done. So, medical director case review of staff, they have one coming up, I believe, on Thursday. It'll be via Zoom. So he meets with our staff, go over certain cases that either Alex flags, Dr. Bennett flags, and sometimes the staff have questions, hey, well, this is what we saw, this is what we did. He can do some follow-up with us and work through that. Josh and Alex are working with dispatch to update some standard operating procedures. Some of the things within our department has changed. Some of the wording from nationally and such. So he's working with them on that. So to get those changed, I've already talked about Board of Pharmacy 2025 budgets coming together. I believe we'll have the personnel sides submitted today to Elizabeth. So not a huge change. We've had to add time for event standbys to our staff. It's a pass through, but we just get inundated with event standbys. So with requests, and they're willing to pay. We try to encourage. You're doing something. You're a block away from the station. How about we make sure we always have a crew in there, unless we're just really, really busy. We'll move a truck around. If that truck was on a call, we'll move a truck over there for the few hours. And we're a block away. So we try to work with them. Some of them are pretty adamant, no. And some of them are by their insurance, they have to have EMS crews, dedicated EMS crews on standby. So, K-State Soccer is a perfect example. They decided to have scrimmage with another team, I think with Nebraska. So they call say, hey, we need an ambulance here in 4 days. So we accommodate, we make it work, but we just get inundated with those. So that was probably the biggest one. And then we'll talk about it. As we discussed, some CIT training for our staff for the behavioral health. So we figured out a way where we can do that. Some on duty, but just a couple of the days off duty. So we figured out a way to do that and really mitigate that. So, but as I said, they would use that training. A crew would use it every day. Without a doubt. We saw it again yesterday. So we had always observing field performance, and we had 7 event standbys in the last month. So Nothing really changed on the education side. But we do have a couple classes coming up here this month. I think it was advanced medical life support. It's gonna be, this year, we can do it all hybrid. But when this group comes up in 2 years from now, it can't be hybrid, it has to be in class. Yeah, so we do the hybrid when we can, but you can't do it every time. Breakdown of the call volume by days of the week. Nothing there at all is surprising, especially when you look at Friday and Saturday. So, and then the call times, start off the mornings busy, kind of tapers a little bit, and then 7 o'clock to about midnight, we start ramping back up. So some things never change. And then the call signs, as I said, top 5 responses, sick person, pretty much always is going to be at the top. But the one that kind of jumped out to us was, our transfers were up last month. So they're kind of ebb and flow. They're never below about 40 a month, but 50 a month, it is a lot. That really gets taxing on our operations, but we make it work. We had one at 5:30 this morning that it was time sensitive, couldn't go out. Couldn't wait till 7 till our crews came in. This had to go. So, but we make it work. And then the inspection report from the State Board of Pharmacy, that's stated, was no concerns at all. So, you have any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Thank you. It is 9:30, so for a Monday morning press conference, how's everybody this morning? Got a proclamation to read here. 50 years, huh? Yeah, long time. Okay, so I have a proclamation to read this morning from the AmeriCorps Senior RSVP Program. Celebration of 50 years. It's amazing. So here we go. Whereas Riley County RSVP, which is the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, was first established in Manhattan in the area in 1974 with grant funding from the federal agency Action. RSP worked to help seniors and retired persons active in the community. And whereas the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, now known as AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP, is the largest older adult volunteer age 55 program in the nation that provides older Americans the opportunity to apply their life experience to meeting community needs. And whereas AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP volunteers serve in a diverse range of nonprofit organization, public agencies, and AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP volunteers choose how, where, and when they want to serve with communities ranging from a few hours to 20 hours per week. And whereas Riley County's Council on Aging has served as a local sponsor of RSVP, supporting and promoting volunteer opportunities available through the program. And whereas 302 active AmeriCorps Senior RSP volunteers provided 29,667 hours of community service in 2023 and an estimated value of $943,114 to our community. 9 volunteers have been active for 20 years. 7 volunteers are between the age of 90 and 99. And 41 volunteers are retired veterans. Wow, that's amazing. Whereas AmeriCorps Senior RSVP volunteers provide food distributions, tax assistance, medical transportation rides, assistance at thrift stores and food pantries, suicide awareness, and more. And whereas this year, the Flint Hills Volunteer Center celebrates the 50th anniversary of the Retired and Senior Volunteers Program. Now, there be for it resolved that the Board of Commission of the County of Riley, Kansas, does hereby commemorate the 50th anniversary of the Retired and Senior Volunteers Program and recognize and honors the AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP volunteers who contribute their time and wisdom to make our community stronger. In witness whereof we have hereunto set the hands that caused the seal of Riley County to be affixed this day, April 15th, 2024. Wow. We've got 7 volunteers over the age of 90. That's amazing. What do you want to say? You got a couple words to say, Lori? That's
Oh, you know me.
quite the accomplishment, yes.
Well, I want to thank you for being here, and that 99-year-old will be 100 in November. So we're having a big celebration in November. But I just wanted to, it's amazing, you know. But what's interesting is that in all these years, 50 years, we have never had less than 300 volunteers serving our communities. So that's an impressive thing. And one of the things I want to point out too is, according to the Census Bureau, by 2029, seniors will outnumber children and youth for the first time. So 71 million will be over 65 versus 69 million will be under 18. So we've got to keep these older adults engaged in their community volunteering. So it's twofold. It gives the volunteers a sense of purpose, give them an opportunity to volunteer, but it gives those people that need the help to stay in their home and age with dignity and live a well-meaning life. So couldn't do this without the Riley County Council on Aging supporting us with funding that will meet our required 30% match to have this program. So thank you so much for this.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Give that to you. And
Can we have-
yeah, we can certainly take you. Come up here and take a picture with all of us. Congratulations on 50 years.
I wanted to introduce Angie Folks. She's our board treasurer and IT. And so on next time we go.
And we met last week, right?
Yes.
So come on in, yeah. Oh, you guys can stand right there in that one. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, talk to you later, Lori.
Yeah.
We're back. Gallery back there. No, it's not. Out of the box. I think it's out, it needs coloring again, so no judgment.
Over judgment.
It's okay, not had yet. It'll be very vibrant the next time I come. It will more unknown.
That's not even this hot topic. This topic is procedures. Thank you.
Yes.
So we have it removed.
Having removed, it's okay. I got broad shoulders. It's all good. It's a Monday, and we know. I should be gone at 1 o'clock today. I have to go check a house, so. Maybe I was.
You mean for work?
Yes.
It's considered, they have those temporary tattoos.
Think about that, it's been funny.
Oh, without. Oh, let's see.
Shaking her head.
I mean, if you make the commissioner smile, I'm okay with that. If they're, I mean, that can't be bad.
Should be smiling as he's walking out the door.
Yeah. Yeah, he might be. Just done with it. He was not the only. He's not.
Weird.
The most dangerous word I've ever heard.
We're from the government. We're from the government. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Those are those things.
But I mean, coming from y'all, I feel like we're not in my best interest.
Especially in the back row.
Yeah, there's some issues in the back row. I don't know where, Shelley, I'm not sure that's where you should be sitting.
She started out in here.
It's been a short time where.
Well, I hear the reason you sat by David is so you could have him get away with it because it's all like him.
Absolutely. But I wouldn't even want to start.
It's Corey.
Corey sits in jail.
It's that guy that threw the first one to me. That was my brother. That was his.
Also, manuals, executive sessions, what a day.
Paradise.
I tell my.
Is this our punishment for not being here on Thursday?
Yeah. I tell my two sons every week, almost every week, Sunday or Monday morning, it's Monday, it's great, it's an opportunity for nothing, for greatness, and they all just,
Yeah.
even the 6-year-old rolls his eyes, I'm like, come on, you never know, it doesn't have to be bad. It's great.
My dad had a different approach on mornings. He would just snap the
Yeah.
blinds open and yell up and at him.
An opportunity.
James Ball had a squirt bottle.
Yes.
You know, if they didn't get.
I guess it's better than an air horn, but.
Was my alarm clock, was basically an air horn.
Drive you out.
Panasonic AM FM radio. Couldn't miss it. Not exactly, but close enough.
You have it far enough away that you couldn't reach over and turn it on.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I used to send it across. Yeah.
Okay, it's
All right.
9:40. Let's move along here.
Good morning, Commissioners. Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director. This morning, we have an opportunity to discuss the Employee Procedures Manual. And I can tell you that all of the procedures, except one in this, are not anything you haven't seen or approved previously. They've been moved from either standalone procedures or the manual into this procedures manual. And so there might be things that you want to adapt or change, but nothing is directly new. Okay, so this is 50 pages, but 33 of them are the P card program. So it's very detailed, but again, no changes except one line was added in the P card program. So we did outline the hiring procedures. So this was the hiring procedures adopted with the salary study in 2022. No changes have been made, and I didn't know if you had any questions or any concerns in that area. And it kind of flows down with the background and reference check as well, because that is part of our new hire process. That is our current practice of what we're doing currently. And then the pay practice itself, this is the pay practice that was adopted with the salary study in 22. So this incorporates the pay scale, the pay rate scale that you adopted last year. It also has how we place people in new positions when they're hired, how we assess someone in a promotion status, or a demotion status, or a transfer. So it really goes through how we would place someone in any position in any change that they might have. And I know we've been using this now, I guess, for a year and a half. So a lot of the department heads have experience with it, have hired people or promoted or, that's something else I wasn't particularly saying, So I think, I don't know if there's concerns or any thoughts on that particular process. New positions. So this is the current process. Position descriptions and new positions. This is the current process on how we develop edit positions and how we grade them. So how they become a new position description or adapt a position description if it needs to be updated. And then how those are graded, and then how we request them. So how we come to the commissioners for the requesting of new or expanded positions. Okay, the highlighted there is the parking accommodation process. So this is on page 8. This is a request the commissioners made about how we would just have a simplified process if someone needs accommodation to park in our parking lots for an extended period of time. This is a new draft entirely, but it really, a lot of it is exactly how we do it, except the granting would not come to the commissioners. It would follow, you'd have to have the medical requirement, you'd have to have the documentation, and then if that was all in line, the counselor and I would discuss and approve and issue the appropriate documents. Which is really everything that we do now, right before we bring it to the commissioners. And I think one of you had mentioned that really there hasn't been a time when you haven't approved it, so a lot of the legwork is done ahead of time, and they do have to have documentation. And I know Rich isn't here, but one of his questions was about the court employees, because they're not our employees, but they do use the parking lot. But the procedure for this, it would still be the same. They would still need to bring us documentation of the need. And a lot of times that's already done because they go and get a temporary disabled parking permit. And so we have that documentation completed. And even if it's something more short term and they don't get that placard, we would still have the doctor's information and requiring them to have a accommodation.
Yeah, I had a question on, the disabled parking that we have, which is very limited. I know it's on the other side, the other building has it, but is there a time limit on that? Or will employee who has a designated spot, will that be changed?
Right, so that continues. Everything in that parking lot, even with the disabled or the handicapped parking, has a time limit. So there's a 2-hour time limit. However, this would be the kind of accommodation to allow someone to park there for a longer extended period of time. So usually this is for employees access the building on an entire day or regular basis. And when they bring the documentation, then we give them permission, we register their vehicle with the clerk's office who does the ticketing and let them know that this person is able to park here the entire day, entire time period. Yeah, so it would apply to the regular parking as well as the handicap parking. And we have had times where we've had more than 1, 2, or 3 people with that request. And so we do have to accommodate and say, okay, well, we're gonna, allow you to park in another spot close, even though it's not a handicap spot, but we make sure that we just accommodate on the circumstance.
We don't block all handicap spots.
Yes, right, we've taken that into consideration because we don't want to have our clients come in who need a handicap spot and not have one available. Yeah.
And what, there are like 3 spots over there?
I think there's more than that. I want to say there's 6.
Is there
6.
Yeah.
Total.
But at the same time, it depends. So there's like 3 that kind of face the court and the attorneys, and then 3 more central to our doors. And so, if we have someone that's going to park there, every day for a week, generally we'll ask them to park in the spot right beside that, which is still convenient for them, but leaves the handicap spot open. Yeah. And again, everything with an accommodation, and Clancy, you always can correct me if I'm wrong, is an interactive conversation. So we would just converse with them, and if that didn't work for their situation, we'd find another solution.
And I don't think the whole time, at least that I've been here, we've never had anybody make an unreasonable request. They're usually there's just usually no question.
Yeah, usually the employees' requests are fairly simple to accommodate, and they have been so far. Yep. Okay, time off request. This is just our current process for requests. Well, I guess let me just make sure that by consensus, you're okay with that parking accommodation since it's new. All right, time off request. This is our current process for requesting time off. It is done through Paylocity currently. So we have the ability, as Clancy's pointed out numerous times, to change that as we might change our software in the future. And then the person requests and the department head or supervisor approves. And then it comes to now payroll to verify time and attendance. This is our current performance evaluation process. It has changed a little bit. That is in Paylocity as well. We have developed finally a standard evaluation that we use for our employees. We used that for the first time last year. And I didn't have particular concerns or complaints brought up about that evaluation. I mean, we had gone through a lot of different options and things that we were talking about, but it can always be adapted to if that needs to happen. Okay, clothing issuance. These have all existed, but they've been in specific department policies. And so a lot of times HR or another department isn't aware of them. And sometimes there's, like with public works, sometimes there's a specific charge if they're renting or buying some of their clothes. So we do process that, but we don't necessarily know. So this is just basically putting it forward that all the employees can see what's issued to them in the procedure manual. The dispute resolution process, was our appeal process. That's what the commissioners approved in March. And so this is new to us. We have not enacted it yet. If you approve the procedures manual, we will be using this process. But it is the exact process that you discussed in March. And I don't know if department heads got a chance to review that, if you had any questions or comments on that portion. It's a little bit multi-layered. It's expected to come to the supervisor or department head now if you have an issue with discipline, and then has some steps up, and it will only come to the commissioners in cases of termination. Sound good? Okay, retirement benefits, just an outline of our benefits. Our employment lawyer asked us to bring the retirement benefits into a process manual, take them out of the policy manual, or in another document actually, and we decided to incorporate it into this. The emergency weather closures process, that is the same process. When we went through it, Russell pointed out we were missing a line on that, and we added it, and it was about the program, remind me of the program name. Everbridge, yes. So we had not stated that every employee will also receive Everbridge notifications. And then he went and he did verify that, and he worked with IT. And so that is the case. Workers' compensation process is what we're currently using. We do have travelers as our workers' compensation at this point. And so, but we did have every couple of years that's reevaluated. We had Berkshire Hathaway at one point, and we'll just work with our local person on that. And then the purchase card program. There is one edit on the purchase card program, and really this is for clarity. The rule hasn't changed, but with staff turnover and constant conversation about what can and what needs to be followed as far as policy and what can be deviated, we wanted to add in the county attorney's staff meal reimbursement rate is set by the county attorney per guidelines established by the state and reported to KSAG. This recently became a topic of conversation and has in the past as well, because we limit meals, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the county attorney's staff took a trip with a conference that was grant funded, and it was in conjunction with RCPD, but they had a daily limit. And we, our office isn't able to reimburse on that. And so we had some lost time conversing about how to handle that, where we'd like to just clarify it. And I did, of course, run that past Barry and Rich, who are the two department heads that would manage those two departments, and we are all in agreement with that.
But this is based on a state statute too.
Right.
Very specific one, so.
Not just me.
Yeah.
Right.
Not the inputs.
So, so that is the crux of the procedures manual. Questions, comments, thoughts, changes?
Couple of things, of course.
Yeah.
I think you got on page 7, it said elected officials, incoming officials pay the same salary as departing. It doesn't list county commissioners. And I know at one time that wasn't true because they did adjust them by service, but it got changed back. I thought.
But it didn't get changed permanently. It was set each time by the commissioners, and they've actually, and in John's time, have changed their rate of pay themselves. And so they've gone, it isn't something that is in our policy. When this policy was approved, and I cannot give you the date, but it's pre-me, so pre-2020, only those elected officials were listed. Now, you're not the only one who noticed the commissioners weren't on this, so.
Yeah, it was 2017. There was a big.
Because I knew there were, at one time it was that the new ones started at a lower rate, something that's already been here and adjusted, so they're all the same. And it does, like I say, I know, because I started at less than what, because they before us gave us a deduct.
Yeah, we have to pay the filing fee for the higher amount.
Right.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't know if that.
Yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah, because of COVID.
COVID introduced, and I wasn't,
Right,
So I
right,
don't
but
know if that
there's not
affects-
clarity on that, and so we definitely, if you want to make it,
I think the
Standard.
uniform process is the best way to go on that to alleviate all those issues.
Yeah.
We're all doing the same amount of work
Yeah.
amongst our districts, and we all get a full year or two sit as chair. It's the same process. We should get paid the same.
so can I just mention that's not specifically what this says, it's not talking, so
Yes.
this says that the incoming person will make the same rate of pay as the outgoing person, and I've had this conversation with Barry and Rich and other department heads, so on an HR term, that's a problem. Because now, let's say Rich is leaving, 27 years in his position. The new person, brand new, no experience, is gonna come in at the salary that Rich made after 27 years of doing the job. That doesn't seem like the county's best interest. That is what we have done in one position since I've been here. And it is what the commissioners decided to do. So it is your purview to do that. And I know there's filing things, but both Barry and Rich have been here an extensive period of time. And will the new person, it's like paying a new person for someone else's experience.
Well, but are those positions on our pay scale?
All of our positions, including
And
commissioners.
they're at the top, they're in the top third of the pay scale.
Yeah.
So then, and they've earned it. I'm not, they've earned it. They put in their time, they've done the work. I don't believe that a new person should get paid, and that's just an HR thing, right? It's not necessarily a
And I
political
was
concept.
thinking on there, and I can see that.
Yeah.
I can see the benefit of that, but
Can there be a
Well-
time served provision put in there of some sort?
That sounds a lot like jail time.
Yeah. So
I've always said that we are a little bit different, for better or for worse, but we're not we're not here on the regular schedule, even the other elected officials. So the 40 hours a week, 8 to 5. So and structured personnel, that still fits where we don't really, we're the ones that don't fit in that equation.
Commissioners are a little different, yes, but I guess my thought.
You can choose to work more than ever, you can choose to work less, now you can choose whatever you want, but
So there's your.
you're still.
Commissioner's role is different.
Yeah, well,
It's like that, well, yeah, probably.
I was including myself in that equation too, by the way, okay.
But with the other positions, I mean, I do think the commissioners have unique responsibilities and parameters, but the other positions, again, HR perspective, I don't think hiring them and placing in the salary study based on their own experience is a negative thing. So for example, if one of the people I just mentioned retired and a new person comes in and they have worked in government for 10 years and they've done administration and they've been a department head, we pay them on that. They wouldn't start at the bottom. They would start based on the experience they were bringing to the position, would be my recommendation. I know I have at least, well, I have 2 elected officials in here, right? So besides the commissioners, so that the person would have to file on what the person is currently making. And I think, what is the percentage? It's 5%.
5%.
I think it's 5%. So there is that, right? They would have to file what the current person is making and may not make that. And again, long-term though, this person is going to continually get COLA, merit, based on where you start them. And the people who've been in that position have earned that through their experience, and the new person would be getting that advantage.
But some elected officials may be elected that haven't got any experience at all coming in, so I don't know.
Well, if we graded them that equally, I mean,
Yeah.
to me, again, HR, this is totally an HR perspective, and I get that there's election on this, but so it would be no different for a new counselor versus a new treasurer. We grade them on the experience that they bring to the position, we pay them appropriately for that range.
How did that work originally for you, Shiloh, because you took over for somebody that had been there for a long time?
Eileen.
Yeah.
So I worked with HR and I came up with what a salary range that I would be good with based on the time that I had served here at Riley County. However, it was overruled by the sitting commissioners at that time that said, no, but we've always done it this way. So I came in at what Eileen was thinking.
Okay.
So there was a proposal for, based on your experience, and they decided it, and then I know, Amy, we had this rule in place, so you came in and what Debbie had been making. And you had almost the exact number of years of experience at the county, so I'm not sure that it would have been that different, even just based on specifically your rate.
Yeah, I guess everyone wants to.
Yeah, so, I don't know that your pay would have been that much different, but a new person coming in off the street might have been.
I still struggle with the idea of the filing fee, though. You're paying a filing fee on an expected salary or the
Yes.
current salary, and I struggle with the idea that you're paying on one and then getting something completely different.
But the devil's advocate would be is that's 5%, and you're gonna make merit and COLA every year on that, which is at least 5% until you finish working here. And so
Yeah, I think it's 10%, isn't it?
I had thought it was 10, and then one of the elected officials told me it's 5.
Okay.
No, it wouldn't be. That'd be. No, it's.
But
I wish Rachel were here, because I don't know.
Well, it could be 10.
The percentage is set by statute, yeah, it's not an option.
It's 1% plus the filing fee.
1% plus the
1%, there we go. That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
It's really expensive. It's been so long since I had to do that. so-
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I just did that. so I know.
Yeah, it's-
Yeah.
I mean, it would have been about.
I'll go with what you're saying.
$6.
Yeah, well,
So-
it's 600. because
$600.
it's something, 1% plus an extra $50,
Okay.
something.
So $600, so what, that's 1%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's 1% plus the filing fee.
That's right, yeah.
Go ahead.
one thing about that, though, they're not required to pay a filing fee. They could file by petition. So
Yeah.
whether that's that's just one.
Right,
I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other. I myself, I did come into the position with the expectation that I would make a lower salary than Eileen did because I only had 10 years of experience in the treasurer's office. But I wasn't gonna say, oh, no, please don't pay me.
Do we have a case study from what other counties are doing on that?
No, and I was gonna say, I could do that. I have heard, and this is not research or backed up, that some counties then pay the filing fee. So if we adjusted that and that was the crux, you know, instead of paying an ongoing salary that grows, I have heard that's the case. Again, that's heard.
I can see what other, you know,
Yeah,
because I can see both ways on this.
yeah, I'm sure.
There's,
And I think that's why it's kind of gone back and forth, because you get, depending on the facts, you get compelling arguments on either side.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really surprise me with kind of this way and that way.
Yeah, so that's the one that I can let Dell look up and bring back some
Yes.
things, yeah. And then I think it's separate for what you're saying about the commissioner. I mean, it might be including commissioner and also you're the only elected position that there's 3 of. And so if your intention is that commissioners would make the same rate of pay, I think that might be another additional
that's
line.
not.
Well, and
You're taking one, I mean, realistically, you're taking one number, it's a set of salary and you're dividing it by 3. That's the way I've looked at it.
Because that's the
Now,
cost of the commissioner.
Right. so it's a, you know, I cannot do the math off the top of my head, but let's say it was $50,000 each and the whole sum's $150,000. Each one of us would make $50,000 and that makes it equal across the board, but
yeah, the problem is like when Greg and I came in, the previous commission, for whatever reason,
it was COVID.
So, but they give a 10%.
they said, no, the next commission makes X amount.
Well, we didn't do it because of that.
But they both ran for office.
Yeah.
They both were running too.
And John, you'd have to refresh my memory. I think it started immediately. So the people who voted on it also
It
got the
did.
reduction.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, they took a year of reduction and then
Oh,
ran.
it was
Yeah,
the-
it did. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily for not just the next commission. They didn't do it at the last minute, the 11th hour.
Yeah, actually both got out.
Yeah. They took it,
Well,
they didn't know what.
I mean, for that particular year, COVID actually started right as we were starting to discuss and go through the budget. So that was an immediate thing right at the front. So, and
Yeah,
then
that was.
we went back through that year's budget and did the same thing with it too, because we didn't know that there was going to be federal dollars and all that coming through. So we were planning like a lot of things at the time in the moment. So.
Well, why don't I take that and do some research? I don't think, if you want to know what others are doing and get some ideas, I can just bring that back.
Me personally too, I'm not overly thrilled with our new positions set up on that, but I haven't figured out a better way to go.
On how we request new positions. Okay,
But,
so you want a little thought on that?
yeah,
Find it.
Which one is
Should I
that?
say it was? Page 8.
we come in the process for new positions,
Oh, all right.
new and expanded positions.
Okay. So maybe, I don't know, what, do you have any thought of it? Or just,
I have thought about it, but
Okay.
I'll talk to you about it.
yeah, perfect. All right. Okay, let me look into that. All right, any other, I mean, Greg, you said more than one, I think.
Yeah, on page 13, it lists the ambulance stations, visitors policy, need to add one. It doesn't list the new station.
Oh, the Liverpool thing.
It just says list stations 1, 3, and then 2 at the Manhattan Fire.
So 1 and 3 are county stations. So yeah, we just need to add the station
Yeah, I know, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
Okay.
It
Just
just-
saying, don't
there's-
forget number 5.
It only lists 4, and there's 5 stations.
I'm sure I told her.
Oh, I'm sure that didn't come right out of David's manual.
Not taking one away.
Good
Thank you. Do we have another one?
No, that was.
No.
that's-
Anything else, commissioners? I mean, there's a lot in here, and again, not being new doesn't mean that you necessarily, you know, we've updated it or you've been thinking about each one of these processes in a while. John, you're good with other things?
Yeah, everything else was fine, yeah.
Okay. Catherine, you're been over it.
Yeah.
I think if I remember right on the P card thing, we made some changes back in 20 or 21 due to the audit.
It's been a while, but yes. Yeah. And it's been functioning. I mean, you don't have any issues or concerns. We talked about whether she felt a need to update anything and she did not. So. Okay, so I've got those 2 things on my agenda to bring back, and then I won't bring the other items back. We'll just focus on those 2 things if you are in agreement on that. Obviously, if you look through it and see something else, we'll backtrack. All right, thank you, commissioners.
We're gonna do that right at the beginning.
But on a full-time,
Yeah, I think so.
Sean's here.
And
I see you still here, but.
no, no, I'll chase him out.
Okay.
I just wanted to have that fun.
Not oil there. Fun in executive sessions that you like.
I don't know what you're talking about.
That's a quite line up.
Say that.
Actually, they are.
Sometimes.
Could be. Now I've been told to send you away.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
That was my fault.
It was shut.
That was my fault.
Short time, short package spread.
In a few minutes. No. Free time, that's one thing. Hopefully nothing that we'll have to discuss in the future.
The National Weather Service predicts severe weather like days out. I feel like we should pay attention.
Yeah.
So tonight at 10, it's supposed to, the first round. It's supposed to-
Yeah.
We'll see. Hopefully it's just good rain.
Pretty good stuff.
Thank you. Some good.
John did his job, shut the door and then said, don't come in for the day.
John talks exactly about procedures. When I was in county, because they provided mutual aid for Joplin, and they had the big tornado in Joplin. They sent over EMS, they sent over public works, they sent over the sheriff's department. I mean, a lot. But that was a big coordinated effort. Yeah. Even I was being. So hospital. And so they were saying EMS to help move patients. That was obviously long before I was there, but yeah, we were reviewing some of those procedures.
Manhattan Fire went down for Hurricane Harvey.
You don't think of logistics of dealing like that until you're working. Even things like moving tree lines and what you believe, where you take it, where you put it. Good job.
Yes, it is. What do you call a fish with no eyes? Shh.
What was it? Fish with no eyes, what?
What do you call a fish with no eyes? Shh.
That's terrible.
I love
Wish I'd
the
remembered
words they
these.
are.
I know, I can't remember them. I
I
can't
know.
remember more than 15 minutes.
I want to tell my husband so I can get that growth and see the other thing now we have it on. It's good.
The appraiser's office gave me that one.
Okay.
Now people do that.
No.
When they see me coming, oh, I've got a joke for you, and I love that.
I don't understand that the employee recognition.
Let's hope so. I don't just go blank. Okay, here we go.
Okay. I move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki, recess into executive session on potential litigation for the purpose of consultation with Shelley Woodard, Deputy County Counselor, and Clancy Holman, County Counselor, attorneys for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, the exception of the Kansas Open Meetings Act. The open meeting to resume in the commission chamber at 10:30 a.m.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded that the Board of County Commission recess into executive session on potential litigation until 10:30 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And video is back on, commissioners.
Okay. Okay. Now I move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded. The Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Move the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
I will second that.
Been moved and seconded that no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you again.
And
Next time.
doesn't see anybody from community corrections. Yeah.
Sure you're not waiting.
No, we're just keeping it just, you know.
Go ahead.
Good morning. I'm here for two reasons today. The first one is out-of-state travel requests. Riley County Community Corrections requested and were awarded funding from 5 different entities to the members of our drug court team to the annual National Association of Drug Court Professionals training. This year, the training is going to be held in Anaheim, California from May 22nd to May 25th. The estimated cost per person is a little over $2,900. We were planning on sending Megan Lewis and Brett Clark. Megan Lewis would be funded through the BJA grant, and Brett Clark would be funded through the Special County Alcohol Tax Grant. And I do have Brett Clark, if you have any questions regarding the training, but this is the one that we.
It said 11 members, or
Yes, we are sending 11 members. RCPD is sending 3 and they'll be funded with RCPD funds. We have 2 judges going. They'll be paid with OJA funds. And then we have, I believe, 2 county employees.
okay, so there's 11 total, but only 2 from you.
Yes, only 2 from us that were requesting that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, that's.
Yeah, that was a little unclear.
Defense attorney and Bonnie all going. It's our whole team.
The whole team. Oh, okay.
Because we meet every week, to talk about our clients.
Oh, okay.
I think it's my turn, I think.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I did all the executives.
Yeah, you did all the executive session. I make a motion to approve allowing interim director Megan Lewis and intensive supervision drug court officer Brett Clark to attend the our RISE 24 program in Anaheim, California.
I'll second.
Okay, it's been moved to approve interim director Megan Lewis and intensive supervision and drug court officer Brett Clark to attend RISE 24 in Anaheim, California. All in favor?
Aye. Yeah, okay.
Go ahead, second.
And the second one is we are have applied for and received funding for the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation grant. We've received money from this foundation since 2011. As you know, our grants from the KDOC are 100% personnel and agency operations, so that leaves little to none for client services. So this enables us to help pay for things like psychological evaluations, mental health evaluations, medication evaluations, rechecks, medication assistance. So we were awarded, or we have typically requested $5,000. We have not been using that as much. So we did lower our request to $37.50 and are approved for the full amount.
Any motion? I move to approve Riley County Community Corrections to accept the 2024 Greater Manhattan Community Foundation grant.
I would second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to allow the Riley County Community Corrections to accept the 2024 Greater Manhattan Community Foundation grant. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
And Evan. You're up.
Ready for it?
You're ready.
Okay. Good morning, Evan McMillan, Public Works. A few weeks ago, we had one of our transfer station employees let us know he would be retiring mid-May. I'm here today to request to start the process to fill that position. This is a full-time operator position, so they're responsible for maintenance of the grounds facility, maintaining the brush pile, scrap pile, compost, among other duties.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve the request to fill the position for the solid waste operator 2.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded on approving filling the solid waste operator 2 position in the solid waste department. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes, you were there. We have a few minutes till start taking the first.
You guys want to sign the corrected resolution from this morning on the animal control?
Oh,
Okay. Then we have that personnel thing.
Oh, yes.
Sorry. Can't spell my name today. Yeah.
right.
You do, certainly when you that feeling.
Sits in his chair.
That's the best. Because they have everything but.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, commissioners. Again, it's Elizabeth Ward, Human Resources Director, and I have a draft of the professional appearance policy. This draft is based on my understanding of your direction from the last time we met on how you'd like to see this. It's a different format because the format matches the new policy manual. But the concepts in here should be exactly the same as the previous policy, except for the addition of these 2 points. And this highlighted red is a question from Rich. And so he wasn't saying that you do or do not, but wanted to make sure that this reads the way that you want it to. Other than that, the paragraphs are the same. The direction to the department heads should be the same as our 2012 policy. But obviously, you've had a chance to read it. So what other input do you have?
Couldn't you just do like on the nose or other piercings, include that in the word, or have the same wording as you do for earrings, not to be in excess?
Well, I think that covered where it says jewelry, tasteful, and modern stuff.
Or modern in style.
Yeah.
But I think that's covered the numbers. Yeah, and I know I was the one that brought that up initially, but I think that
Covers it.
that it's,
I agree with you. I do think that covers it, and it gives discretion to the department head to say this is not moderate, or this needs to be more professional. And I did get a chance to speak with at least one department head who had a similar situation and spoke to the candidate or employee, and that person was fine to change their jewelry out and to go to something more discreet, more professional. Now that may not always be the case, but those are the conversations that we try to have.
okay, I think the whole idea of this was kind of assuming our department heads can take care of things,
Yeah, and I think that's important.
And it might even be a little different between each department. It's not going to be wildly different, but it might be, there could be some difference, but that's what it is.
I think it can be, and I think where we've talked about it is,
And it
Yes.
really depends on which department, how.
well, it depends on
how
the
much
job.
Public.
Yes.
how much public.
Yes, more the job than the department. And that's where we were talking about, that's how you base it. I mean, if this affects your ability to do your job, if it affects your interaction with the community and what you need to
So that's
accomplish.
pretty distracting.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's how we base it. We don't base it on, I personally don't like the color of your hair, but this is the challenge we have.
Like I say, I might have my own thoughts on the numbers, but that's,
Yeah.
it's my opinion.
Yeah.
Not everybody else's.
And I've asked the department heads to take that reaction and say, okay, now I'm gonna base it in this job. And if that's appropriate, then we don't have, purple hair in that job because it affects your ability to communicate with the public, then that's the stance that we would want to be basing it on. And if it doesn't matter, and I realize it's just my own personal dislike, then that would, have that evaluation as well.
Go ahead.
Just wondering how they've played out for current employees. Am I, as an employee who is very public facing, show my tattoos to my boss and ask if it's okay, or?
It's on the supervisor's responsibility to communicate expectations.
Okay.
But I think that it's appropriate for you to have the conversation with your supervisor.
Okay.
The markings, it particularly says, anything that does not distract from a professional image or prohibited anywhere on the face and et cetera. So, if it doesn't detract, it shouldn't be an issue. It's always good to communicate with your supervisors. If you guys disagree, please let me know.
That's the intent. That's the intent.
Yeah, and it is always, it's employee's responsibility to follow the dress code, and it's supervisor's responsibility to communicate the expectations. And so there should be, just like we said with the previous policy, there should be a conversation anytime there is a question, concern, deviation. Like in EMS, every employee is not going to come and talk to David about whether or not their tattoos and hair is appropriate. You've already communicated what the expectation is. As an example. I know John and I have spent time talking about it, quite a bit of time in the department and maybe some in different positions, and which does and does not affect their ability to.
We need to formally make a motion, is that correct?
I think that would be appropriate at this point, yes, please. And I think I wrote one in, if you want to adopt this one.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I don't remember.
I'd make a motion to approve the proposed professional appearance policy attached.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the proposed professional appearance policy attached. All in favor?
Aye.
So then my last question is, then would you like me to, we've approved all the pieces. Would you like me to bring back the whole for you or just now move forward through consensus of each piece? Would you like to have that? And Clancy, maybe that's a better question for you. Would it be better to have them approve the entire manual or with this final question, have it approved as of this date?
I mean, for purposes of clarity in the record, probably the entire manual.
Okay, all right, I will put it together and bring it back to the whole meeting. Appreciate it.
Just so there's no question later on. Let's.
Yeah.
So
I'll
we
get
get
you
rid
the
of
version,
these.
so you all have a printed version and we'll, then once you approve it, we'll put it on the W drives.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Okay. We have another executive session.
Yeah.
Fine.
How long should I be in the executive session?
Well, let's see that.
Almost ready to speak, it's all done. Yeah, and then there's. Right there. Oh. I say just. You're okay, it's not. It's a, what's the nearest to eat that? Once there's what's the same pot. Standard, but it is, we're just talking about good. It doesn't make sense. And the kids go, that's what I said. And I'm saying that's the point. It's funny. Did you know yeah, you never really good use. Yeah. But he's so he's aggressive. That's good. That's good. Obviously, I that's a bit of bit. Just something. Just yeah. Sometimes it's happening. There's something. So you go to something. This is the only. And I said, oh.
Yeah, no.
A couple of.
I think it's really pretty.
Yeah.
We didn't want to be here.
That's precondition. It's like you don't want somebody who really wants to serve on a jury.
Right.
That's a person who gets everybody's attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did interview him and said, oh, I've been wanting to be on a jury forever. They're
And
gonna
both
get out
sides
of
are going,
here.
out of here. Working on their sheet, you're gone.
How we make it up to that?
Well, it backfired. You tried to stack it.
Fancy, are they all?
They all are, I was gonna tell you. Oh,
Do I need to add those?
please. Since we don't have a giant crowd, I figured that would be okay.
This is a David special.
Yeah, I keep showing up.
EMS director.
That new guy. That just fits me in for whatever department. I've got a whole raise, master of none.
I always have to go to somebody's email and get their title.
Right.
We are ready to go. Okay. I move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki, recess into executive session on potential litigation. The purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman, County Counselor, the county attorney for the commission, which would be deemed privileged, and the attorney-client relationship, an exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. Open Meeting Act to resume in the county commission chambers at 11 a.m. Russell Stuckey, Emergency Services Director. David Adams, EMS Director. Corey Meyer, ITGIS Director, will be present during a portion of the executive session to provide factual information.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded. The Board of County Commission recess into executive session on potential litigation with the return to the commission chambers at 11 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
and the meeting's.
I move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded, the Board of County Commission come out of executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
But hold the speaker again and go back.
You do.
And how long? will we-
Well, you also need to say no.
Do we,
No.
still, we have to do that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
I second that.
Been moved and seconded to no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
How long will we go on now?
I think finish it up in 10 minutes.
I would think.
Okay, so you
Depending,
have,
unless you guys anticipate you have a lot of questions.
I'm done.
okay, I'm gonna cut you off like 7.
Yeah.
I'm just counting.
Okay.
Thank
So at 11:10. Okay. I move the county commission, including Chairman Ford, Vice Chairman McKinley, and Commissioner Foki, recess into executive session on potential litigation for purpose of consultation with Clancy Holman County Council or attorney for the commission, which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, exception to the Kansas Open Meetings Act. Open meeting to resume in the county commission chamber at 11:10 a.m. Russell Stuckey, Emergency Services Director, David Adams, EMS Director, and Corey Meyer, ITGIS Director, will be present during a portion of the executive session to provide factual information.
I would second that.
Been moved and seconded, the Board of County Commission recess into executive session on potential litigation till 11:10 a.m. All in favor?
Aye.
And we are back, commissioners.
That was consensus read.
And no action.
I move the Board of County Commissioners come out of executive session.
I second that.
It's been moved and seconded that the Board of County Commission come out of executive session. All in favor?
I move the record reflect no binding action was taken during the executive session.
I would second that.
It's been moved and seconded that no binding action was taken during the executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Other than the law board meeting that you guys don't have to take. That's it for the day.
Slightly bitter.
No, but we are starting the budget, so it's gonna be interesting.
Understand.
I lost for a couple hours.
No, probably not this one, but next couple probably. We'll see. I don't have anything else. I know, just remember, we're not obviously meeting on Thursday, so.
Well, I would make a motion to adjourn the April 15th meeting of the Board of County Commissioners.
I'll second.
It moved in second to adjourn the April 15th meeting of the Riley County Commission. All in favor?
Aye.